Have you ever wondered what is the best way to use the new Unity input system? Yeah, I did too. There are countless tutorials about it, but I always find them a little misleading. Most of the solutions have a big problem. All of them are easy to mess up, that's why I developed a foolproof method that solves most of the problems with the system. So stick around and find out how can you use this in your project. A couple of years ago, Unity introduced a new input system. This system's main function is handling multiple devices at the same time. But it's better to see it for yourself, so let's set up our project. First, you have to import the system from the package manager. This may take some time, but be patient. After the package is imported, you will get a warning message. This message tells you to change your project from the old input system to the new one. Accept the message and the project will change to the new system. This will restart your project, but after that, you will have full access to the system. If you accidentally miss the warning message or hit the wrong button, don't worry. I will show you another way of changing from the old system to the new one. Just go to the project settings, select the player menu, then under Other Settings tab, you can find the Active Input Handling label. Here, you can change between the systems. You can find all of this in the official documentation of the input system. I will leave the link in the description of this video. Now that the system is ready, we have to create an input action asset. This asset will represent all of the inputs from the devices. If you open the asset, you can see that it has 3 columns for the 3 types of variables. The action maps are like interfaces that your object implements. Actions are the functions of these interfaces, and the bindings are the inputs that call these actions. You can add multiple inputs from multiple devices, but all of them will call the function the same way. For practice, let's create some. So let's create an action map called navigation, then create an exit action inside it, and finally bind some inputs to this action. I choose the escape button on my keyboard. This all sounds good, but how will we use this in our code? If you look into the inspector, when the asset is selected, you see an option for generating a code from this asset. Let's check it in and select a place and name where you want to generate the script. Hit save, and now you are ready to use this in your code. There are countless methods of using this asset in your code. I tried most of them, but I have a go-to implementation that I used in most of my projects. First, you have to create a new script called Input System Manager. You have to make it into a singleton. I used the most basic singleton pattern I could think of. After you're done, create a reference to an instance of the input asset script. This reference will be our connecting point to the input actions. To use it, you have to enable it and implement all the interfaces. So let's implement the navigation interface. Don't forget to set the callback on the input actions. And finally, create a way for the other scripts to subscribe to this class. Create a list of subscribers and implement subscription and unsubscription methods. And finally, you can implement the action calls in the actual action call functions. This class will be the proxy, so you can implement countless safety measures to ensure the right actions are called in the right times. You can even filter the events by the event status as well. So now that we are done with this, let's create a script that uses these functions. You create a simple mono behavior, then implement the interface and subscribe to the input system manager. And that's it. We can test it in our project. Add 2 game objects to the scene. One should contain the input system manager script and one should contain the exit action script. Let's run the scene. As you can see, all of the actions have been called But if you count them, the input system manager reported more actions than the exit script. Let's see why is that. We previously implemented a filter for the events. This filter only allows performed actions to call the functions. But there are two more action types, the cancelled and the started. You can let them pass every time, but I use this filter most of the time. This implementation has a big advantage. If you change something in the asset, like adding new actions like this, Unity will alert you to implement in the code as well. For the implementation, you can just copy and paste the previous methods. I hope you like this implementation, but if you miss anything, just let me know in the comment section. But let's see some real examples of using this system. This is my current game that I'm developing, and there are input actions I use in this game. First, I have the movement actions. I use the default WASD keys for the keyboard and the Ctrl+/stick. There are common practice, so every new player can learn it easily. For exit maps, I use the exit action, using the escape button and the start button on the gamepad. For navigation between tabs, I use the tab button on the keyboard for loop navigation, and the shoulders on the gamepad for more nuanced navigation. In the game, there is a mouse. A lot of things use its position and actions, but I wanted to support the gamepad as well, so I implemented a separate thing for that. But I will make a separate video about it. Another great thing about this implementation is that you can show your inputs in your UI as well. Just go into the input system manager, create a dictionary for holding the data, and fill it up with the information from the generated script. And if you want it, you can filter this too and only show the devices that you are used previously. And here is the UI in the game. And that's it. That's my easiest way of using this system. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and feel free to comment the changes you would make to the code, or tell me what you want to know more about this system. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you won't miss the next one. But until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.